I just wanted to touch on there. There's no shame in the game if you want to just go purchase your plants and not start them from seeds. Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Papaw's place. Guys, today I am supercharging my tomato plants, and I thought y'all might be interested if you want to grow tomato plants like this, how I get the supercharge started on them to get plants like that. Now, I planted most of them up this morning, and then I decided I'd just make y'all a little video. And I got one more here, and I'm going to show y'all what I do to supercharge them. Now, this is nothing new here. I just call it supercharging, but when you want to pot up your tomato plants to a bigger pot, and I always like stepping mine up. Now again, I was saying in a video the other day to stay away from these little bitty seed starting trays here that's about, I don't know if they call that a 2-inch. I don't know the proper name of it, but the little bitty ones, that's the hardest things to start seeds in, especially for a beginner and even myself, and I keep doing it. But it's hard to not overwater them, and it's hard not to let them get too dry. So I like starting them right here in what I call these 3.5 6-packs. They're about 3.5 inches deep here. I'll put a link in the description below this video to what size they are. Then when they get up there at about 4 inches tall, I like potting them up in what I call supercharging them. So I'll start out with me about a 4-inch pot, sometimes 6. This time I think I'm going to get them out planted early enough I won't have to pot them up again. But it's fine if I do, because every time I do, it's supercharging. It puts you just a little bit of your soil, which I'm using my same seed starting mixture I had here. But you just want enough to cover the bottom so your roots won't set on the bottom of your pot. We're going to get this out of here. And you want to put that tomato all the way down in there, as far as you can. That's why you want to put a little dirt in the bottom. All you want sticking out is just the very top. Because tomato plants, I put out new roots all the way up that stem. And if you'll go on and pot them up and let them get a head start when you plant them in the ground, we actually going to be supercharging them again, because no matter how tall they are, we just going to put them deeper in the ground. And the bigger that root ball is, the healthier and stouter tomato plants you will have. They'll get started quicker, and you'll have a healthier plant. Now, I ain't going to sit here and tell you that it makes you more tomatoes, but I'm just saying it makes a healthier plant because it's got a bigger root system. So now to where I had a root ball on the end about that long, it's going to start forming roots all the way up what I just planted below that soil. Now I wish you could do peppers like this, but peppers don't do that. They don't start new roots off their stems. But as you can see, and if you got some leaves sticking out down there, you can either bury them in the soil or you can pinch them off like I did. Sometimes I pinch them off if they smaller. Sometimes I just cover them up with the soil. It don't hurt a thing. Now after I do that, and I let them go for about 3 days before I start giving them any feed. After I pot up, I don't like to give them any kind of liquid fertilizer, whatever you like to feed with. I like to give them a couple days because they go through a little bit of a shock when you interrupt their roots like that. Because they'll go through a little shock when you interrupt the roots anytime you transplant them up, pot them up, whatever you want to call it. I call them supercharging them. And if you'll do that, like I said, you'll get a bigger root system on your tomato plants and have a bigger, stouter, healthier plant. Another thing I got to do, now this is just a vent fan, and it's been cool nights. I've been having to run the heater. As a matter of fact, I didn't even turn it off for the last 48 hours, which it kept it last night up here about 75, so our nights is warming back up again. But when it comes time, in a couple of days after watering them, letting them get re-established, I'll come in here and I'll take me 20-20-20, and I know some people don't like that. Y'all want to use organic, and that's fine, whatever you use, but I use 20-20-20, 1 teaspoon per gallon. And I set all my tomatoes, either I'm going to water them with this little bottle here with this spout, that way I can pour it right around it and not touch the tomato, or I'm going to pour it straight in this pan here, about a 3/8 of an inch deep, and let it soak it up from the bottom. And if you come back in about an hour and it ain't soaked that water up, you get that water that's in here out. You don't leave them sitting in water. Or I don't. I'm going to say that. I don't leave them sitting in water because it causes root rot. Let them suck up what they're going to suck up from the bottom, and then make sure to dump the rest of the water out of the pan. Now I just come up with another idea, and I don't know why I ain't done thought of this over the years. I got a little mini hand vac, shop vac. It's a little bitty one. I think a 3/4 gallon when I kept my travel trailer. It's been sitting out here for 3 years now, and the travel trailer ain't never been used. I can bring in here, instead of having to get these out to dump this water out of this bottom pan, I can turn it on and suck it out real quick. That thought just come to me this morning while I was out here potting these up. My mind was thinking I need to put me a little drain hole in here with some kind of cap where I could just uncap it, put a bucket under it, and drain it instead of having to pick them up. Now I thought about that vacuum cleaner. I said, I already got that little shop vac. My RV ain't being used. So there's another free tip of the day right there if you ain't never thought about it. Use a little chop vac if you got one. Again, we're going to be supercharging these again when we go in the ground. I don't care if these tomatoes is up here a foot tall. I'm going to plant them as deep as I can when I plant them. Sometimes I use post hole diggers to dig my hole. I want them to get all the root systems they can get on them. And also, guys, like down here in the south where we get up in them high temperatures, the deeper that starts out in the ground and already got that root system down there deep, it sucks water from down deep. And that's just something I've always done. I hear people say it don't matter if you plant a plant out this size or you plant a plant out this size. This one here is going to make tomatoes. And I ain't going to argue the fact that this little one may not grow and catch up and make tomatoes at the same time. But I'll argue till death do me part that when I plant a tomato this deep down here in the south, and we get in that hot, dry weather, it's already got a head start because them roots is already formed. Because I'm going to dig a hole about yay big around, put some loose material on it so them roots can get started and be already performing, sucking in moisture from down deep. And I don't see how a person can argue me wrong on that point. But yes, you can plant this little tomato plant out right here at the same time, and the odds is it might make you some tomatoes just as quick, but it ain't going to be as healthy of a plant, especially for these hot, dry climates. So now I'm gonna get over here and step my peppers up. Again, if you missed the last video, these 2 peppers here I purchased the other day. And speaking of that, there is no shame whatsoever in purchasing plants, guys. YouTube nowadays, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like they almost making people feel guilty if they go buy their seedlings from a corner market or the plant store, for that you can't think right now, my mind just left me, but y'all know what I'm saying. It's like they try to make people feel guilty that they ain't starting their own seeds. Well, I'm gonna tell you, it ain't no shame in going and buying your seeds. Alright guys, I had to take a phone call there, but back to what I was getting at, there's no shame in going to your garden center and picking up your plants and not starting your seedlings from seed. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you ain't got the time, if you got a full-time job to where you got to get up and leave early, you forget, if you got a little greenhouse, if I forget one morning to come out here and open this door and open these windows, one day I'll wipe all this out in our temperature down here. Like I said, it'd be down in the 30s at night, and in the daytime get to 75 or 80. Well, if you ain't got this opened up, it'll kill all this mess just like that, especially when it's first getting started. So there's no shame in getting it. Now, the reason I got these 2 right here, and I'll probably end up getting something else later, I didn't have no jalapeno pepper seeds. Well, it was done late in the game, and I went by the Tractor Supply one day, actually, where I seen these. I had to go in the Tractor Supply, and they had these sitting there, so I got me 2 jalapeno peppers. And another reason, one of the biggest reasons I start my seeds is not just, it ain't about you can save that much. I'm not convinced that you can save that much starting your own seeds until after you get set up and going. Because that initial setup of getting trays, heat mats, lights if you ain't doing it outdoors, or building a little greenhouse, that initial setup, to me, I could probably buy all my plants, because I wouldn't, if I was buying plants, guys, I wouldn't be trying different varieties. I'd just be buying what does best in my area and what we eat. So you wouldn't be trying, like I got whatever 7 different varieties of tomatoes here, just because I like trying something every year. It's part of gardening. And I'm gonna stop there and make a point. That's another thing I get aggravated with, is people, gardening is something you do for fun, not just for food. It's a hobby also. And people will steady be saying, only plant what you eat, only grow what you eat. Well, that's about like going to a big buffet somewhere and only eating a piece of chicken because you don't know what this other piece of meat tastes like. You don't want to try it. I mean, you got to have a little adventure in your life. Now, yes, if you ain't got the room or the money or the area to do it, yeah, maybe grow only what you eat. But quit telling everybody only grow what you eat. I mean, this is a hobby. This ain't no difference for me doing this than the guy who likes to go play golf 3 times a week. It's something you do. So yes, it's going to cost a little money. But at the same time, I think, personally, I could buy my plants locally at the corner market up here if I only grew just what I needed and not wanting to get different varieties, because that's one thing you can't do unless you live somewhere where they got big garden centers. You can't get a lot of different varieties. Smaller towns, they have to get what's going to sell for their area. So, I just wanted to touch on there. There's no shame in the game if you want to just go purchase your plants and not start them from seeds. But now I'm gonna get over here. I got my peppers. I'm gonna go on and step them up. Now a couple of these right here got leggy, which I planted extra. Well, this is actually eggplants right here. Black beauties look good. The white star over here, I don't know. I don't think they ain't got enough root ball on them to step up. But I'm gonna step up a couple of my pepper plants today just cause it's old humid. Been raining all night. I ain't got nothing else to do. Tired of sitting in the house. I went to the doctor yesterday and got some more shots. Seems like every time I'm making a video I'm telling y'all I've been to the doctor, and that's just about the way it's been. We had a fire. Had to help somebody fight a fire Sunday evening, and breathing all that smoke got me sinus infection, done turned into bronchitis and done getting down in my lungs. So I've been up in the house and I'm just ready to get out of the house, and I don't need to be out in the wet, so I'm gonna hang out in the greenhouse here a little bit. But that's my tip of the day, is how you can supercharge your tomatoes. And there's no shame in going and purchasing your plants and not starting from seeds. I actually think I spend way more money on seeds than if I did just go up here and buy what plants I need. And my lettuce seeds, that's something this year. I had a bunch of lettuce left over from last year, and I done started them 2 or 3 times, and they just, them lettuce seeds, I know lettuce seed goes bad quick, but them there done went bad. They won't even do nothing. I've planted these things 2 or 3 times in this iceberg lettuce. First time it was just 4 or 5 in here. Well, just being 4 or 5, they look so bad I just dumped it out. Started over. Second time didn't do nothing. Third time ain't done nothing because it's done been long enough. And so I come out here the other day when I seen that. Yesterday, I guess I walked out here. I went in there and got them seed out of my seed box and threw them in the garbage can. So that's one of the things I was saying. I ain't even gonna try to start no more again. When I go by the local corner market up there, when it starts getting time to plant them, I just grab me a few lettuce plants. All my flowers is coming on good. My marigolds, zinnias, that's my Catarina cabbage. Yeah, I can get these peppers out, so I'm finna go on and plant these peppers up into some bigger containers, because it's gonna be a while before I want the weather up there before I plant my peppers out in the garden. I've tried that before, getting a head start, but guys, you put them out there, it may not kill them, but they just sit there and it stunts them, because they ain't gonna take off growing when it's so cool at night. And to me, that stunts your plant, so when it does warm up, they don't want to take on off. It takes them forever to get started. So I'm gonna go on and pot these up in some big pots, because they gonna be in here a while before they get planted. Even these right here, I figured these are finna get potted up into a big pot. See how root bound they getting? I'm gonna go and plant these up in probably like a half a gallon pot I got, and set them on the floor, because it's gonna be several more weeks before these get put in the garden. Actually, I ain't got the size pot I wanted. I'm gonna go up to this real big one on them 2 big ones right here. But I'm gonna have to go out to my compost pile and dirt pile. I can't put all my seed starting mix I got left in this big old pot. Alright, I went out to my compost pile and I mixed me up some compost with a little bit of my sand and a little bit of my light soil out there. Run it through a screen here and got me a little pan there with some more soil in it. But peppers, now you can't supercharge them. I save all these containers. I use them again. You can't plant these below the soil and supercharge them. But I do like ruffling them root-bound roots there out a little bit. I'm gonna I feel the same way about planting a big pepper plant as I do a tomato. The bigger that root ball is already established and the more this is established when I plant it in the ground, I just think it makes a healthier plant for that pepper to survive, having a bigger root system planted. But as always, that's just my opinion. Everybody's got opinions. This year I'm thinking I'm going to plant some peppers in my raised beds. Some of you know that my pepper plants by the end of the year, I mean, I'm done cutting them to keep them this tall. I'll just cut the tops off and they'll be this tall. Come September and stuff, they'll be loading down with peppers. But this year I'm going to plant some in my raised beds and see if I can just keep them topped off short and see what they do. Now the ones that's in the ground, I'll let them be on up our big pepper plants. But that's it for this little video, guys, and I appreciate y'all. If you don't mind, please give me that thumbs up. Leave a comment to help my YouTube algorithm so my videos will get out there so other people can see them. And as always, hope y'all have a great day and a blessed week. God bless. See y'all next time. So we're going to go ahead and make our sauce for our bacon burgers. I got this wrote down because I always go ahead and prepare my stuff instead of trying to prepare it as I'm going. So in here we got about close to a half a cup of chopped up onions and different peppers that I had frozen out of the garden, along with 2 cloves of garlic minced up I went on and put in here. In this liquid here we got about 3 tablespoons of vanilla, which you can use bourbon if you so choose to. About 1/3 cup of ketchup, 1/4 cup of vinegar, and 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we got about 1/2 cup, maybe not quite 1/2 cup of brown sugar. This recipe calls for putting some bacon strips in your pot, kind of browning them up. But we got venison bacon burgers that was already ground up bacon burgers. The bacon's added in the burger at the processing plant, so I ain't gonna be adding no bacon in here. What I am gonna do is be adding just a little sliver of butter there to melt. And then we're going to dump in our onions and garlic and peppers there and kind of saute them up a little bit. Dump our concoctions all up here in there in the brown sugar and bring it to a bowl, and then gonna just let it simmer a while. And that's all it is to this little bacon burger sauce I'm trying tonight. We're using vanilla extract, comes straight from Mexico. I'm using Briggs apple cider vinegar and the old Hunt's tomato ketchup. Don't know what brand the brown sugar was. Worcestershire sauce. Don't know what brand that was. I done put all that back up. And our butter is melted now, so we're going to go in with these chopped onions and peppers and minced garlic. I see a lot of shells there go on and put their onions and peppers in first and then wait a little while and then put their garlic. But it's all cooking for flavor, so I do it all at one time. We're going to let that kind of glaze up for 2 or 3 minutes. Now I'm going to go in with all the liquid and the ketchup and Worcestershire sauce. It's starting to bubble up. Now we're going to go in with the brown sugar. This is coming up to a boil. I'm going to turn it down and let it simmer. And I'm going to wash the dishes while this is simmering, and then when we get ready for our burgers, we're going to test this out. Now that, my friends, is a bacon burger sandwich. Sharon should be coming in the door any moment now. Are you hungry?
I am. What you got?
You have got a bacon burger sandwich with bourbon bacon burger sauce. But we didn't have bourbon, so we substitute with vanilla flavor.
I was wondering. Because I didn't know we had any bourbon.
And them peppers that we had froze must have been a hot pepper in there, because it's pretty warm to me.
Yeah.
So you would probably love it.
That's a thick old burger.
It is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. I done it pretty good.
That's really
Bacon
good.
flavor come through just right on that
Yeah.
meat they processed.
Mm-hmm.
And we got fresh lettuce that I had in the greenhouse.
Yay.
And some of them marinated mushrooms. And it's got a pepper jack cheese melted on the. That sauce is pretty dang good, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. That's real good. Good job. Got me some Grinch punch from the wedding.
Grinch punch.
Yep.
I left one patty without. I said, in case we didn't like the sauce, we still have one, but that's good.
Have a plain one. Yeah, and that meat's not dry at all.
I done them in the oven. I didn't put them on the grill.
That's good.
That thing, we didn't have no bourbon, so I Googled to see what you substitute for. First thing was vanilla flavor, and I said, we got that.
For bird, I wouldn't have never thought that.
And you don't taste it.
Mm-mm.
That's what it is, I guess. I don't know, I guess it's just for the alcohol in it to cook out through it or something.
Mm-hmm. You've just been home cooking, huh?
Yeah. It's all on the internals.
He was too fat to crow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's funny.
I couldn't eat a whole one of them.
Mm-mm. Me neither.
Half one of them fill you up.
Plenty.
I only made 2 big patties. Well, I tried to make them since we was using that bread you bought.
Uh-huh.
I tried to make square
That size,
colored
like square shaped.
and just 2 big old thick patties. And this was the biggest one. I didn't even put cheese on it.
That's good.